Hey, everybody. Welcome to the first episode of The Golden Guys. Thank you for being a friend. We're all here. Well, let me introduce the panel. I'm JD. And let me introduce you to the rest of the panel. Next up, I'm going to introduce Mr. Dscomics. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we're getting feedback from you.
Oh, sorry. Figure out what's going on with that.
Oh!
Still getting feedback?
Something. Sounds pretty good.
Is it good now?
It's real good.
Okay, there you go. All right. Who wants to go next to introduce themselves?
I'll go.
Okay.
So, Knights of Old here. I do lots of timely videos and glad to be a part of this crazy golden bunch, I guess. Golden bunch. Forgot my wig, my gray wig. Maybe next time.
Okay. DS?
Oh, yeah, what's up? I'm Dscomics. Good to be here. Didn't do any prep, but I'm really, excited to do anything about Golden Age. So
Very cool. And now we got somebody here who needs no introduction. Damn, he's here.
Man, this is a great legend coming at you live from the Comic Core tonight with the first ever episode of The Golden Guys. And fans, I'm so excited to be here because, I hear JD running his mouth every day of the week, and I'm learning like a geek, and I'm getting all that knowledge because knowledge is power, and this man delivers it hour after hour. And not only that, if y'all are fans of Monday Night Bubs Comics, the No Faces chat, you can see DS and Knights of Old over there, but tonight we got the faces of DS and Knights of Old. And man, they're brave and they're bold. JD, that's what it's all about. And let me check the chat real quick for JD. He's getting some things settled down in the clown life that he's going through. You got screaming in the background. He got all kind of stuff. You got Ric Flair. You don't know what night it's going to be or how many women's going to show up on his camera. But we got Flamin' Sheila. Speaking of the ladies, hey, Flamin' Sheila, you're very flaming tonight. Nice to see you here. John's Comics with Kids, the host of Comic Core Unlimited, which is coming out tomorrow night again, man. Every Wednesday night, make sure you check out Unlimited. JP's Budget Collecting. What's up, JP? Caleb Comics Murphy. The Smurfinator is here, man. It's great to see you, Caleb. We got Comic Head 84. Oh, yeah. Comic Head, Macho Head 84. It's great to see you, brother. Oh, man, I know this guy's got Golden Age out the wazoo, and it's Slab. TJ, Slab Dragon Watson is in the house. Count Von Strange the Fourth. Great to see you, Matt, in the house. Oh, another Matt is here. Mr. Gretzky 9966. Metarog. It's got one of the best videos that he does pretty much every week about contest videos in the YouTube comic book community. Make sure you check out Metarog. We got DS Comics in the chat, and he's with us here on the panel, so that's kick-ass. We got Bake the Snake. What's up, Bake? Comic Books NYC. Man, it's good to see the CB from the NYC. Oh, we have the natural Alec White Whale Comics. Man, the natural's here, man. Alec, we love you. You're a natural at what you do. You keep hosting, and you'll be boasting because your content is just too sweet. We got Evan up in the house. Evan is a Golden Age collector. Real quiet, though, on the Golden Age, Evan. You need to do more videos. And we got Comic Core Chad. What is up, Chad? You find Chad on Friday nights, Comic Core. And Who Dat Comics and Movies. He's a guy that has some hidden Golden Age. And we have Knights of Old in the chat as well. And he's on the panel too, JD.
Wow, that's some great introduction right there. That's something I can't do.
DS will do that next time.
Very cool.
Cat Wren figures showed up too. Gotta give love to Cat Wren and her alternate ego, Cinema Figures, for all your movie, TV, and video needs. Check out her video reviews of movies and TV too.
Well, this show is all about the Golden Age, and we're going to talk about books from 1936 to 1956. We're going to keep it between those categories. And before we get into the books and everything else, we're going to tell a little bit about why we collected what we did. So just to give you a background on me, about 21 years ago, I was collecting books. So this is 21 years ago. And it's the late 90s, and I'm sitting there, and I was going to a comic shop in New York on St. Mark Street, St. Mark's Comics. And this came in with a big old box of books to sell to the guy, and the guy behind the counter was rifling through them, and he goes, nah, grumpy. And he's like, he offered him a certain amount of money. He wanted 500 for it. The guy behind the counter offered him 200. They couldn't come up with a deal. The guy picked up his books, walked outside, and I followed him out that door. And I asked him, "Hey, man, I'll give you $150 for half that stack right now." And I picked up half a stack. And they all ended up being westerns and some Russ Heath and a lot of Marvel Atlas and a lot of Atlas books. And I was really happy with them. And it was my first set of Golden Age books I got. But it got me hooked on it. That story doesn't happen often. But that's exactly what got me into them. So there was some Jungles, some Lorna the Jungle Queen, the Lorna the Jungle Girl. There was some Blaze Carson over there. There was crime fighters, some true crime, some all true mysteries, some astonishing tales and stuff like that. It was really cool. So I got hooked on the Golden Age that way. So that made me about 21 years ago, and I've been hooked ever since. And most of you guys know I'm after a certain pursuit right there. I'm looking for every single elephant cover that exists, every jungle cover with an elephant on it, and some jungles that just have some really good girl art on there right now. And I don't have a problem with some pre-code horror with some elephants, where you just got elephants around. Also, I collect every John Buscema of the Golden Age drink, and I'll let the next guy go. Maybe I guess we'll do in the order that we went right there, and he's going to tell us how he got into it. So let's talk to Knights of Old.
All right. Well, let's see. I'll start a little bit earlier than the Golden Age, just real quick, because I love this story. I was at a mall, and I saw these guys dressed up as superheroes, and Captain America walked up to me and said, "Hey, young man, how would you like to have a comic book?" And he handed me this, and he's like, "You want me to sign it?" I was like, "Yeah." So he wrote Captain America on there, and unfortunately, years later, I got rid of that thing. I was like, "Oh God, I let someone sign this thing, Captain America, trash." But somewhere out there, if you have that, let me know. But I got pretty hooked on these things, and I went to Comic Cons at an early age, San Diego Comic Con in 1986, and I used to see the Golden Age all the time, like all these Marvel timelies, like all those red covers of the Human Torch and whatnot. And I remember not really understanding how much money they cost, and I remember the dealers being a little apprehensive about me, like, getting my hands on those things or whatnot. But once I learned more about comics, I wasn't that interested in them, because they weren't like, Stan Lee didn't reference them. They only went back to FF1 really, so they weren't really in my realm of thinking about. But then I studied art, and at some point, I think it was in the mid 90s, I got this book, the Gerber Guides, and it just exposed me to so many awesome books. And then I was pretty broke at that point, being in college and whatnot, so I couldn't really get any, although that would have been a good time, I bet. And then in the early 2000s, I stopped collecting comics, but I went to a con. I used to go to the Wizard World in Illinois, and I was like, yeah, all select number one. I was like looking at these things, but CGC wasn't around, or it wasn't very prevalent at that point. And the more I kind of talked to people and researched things a little bit, I got pretty scared about, restoration and brittle pages. And I was just, and Golden Age, even back then, there was a lot of money. So I just couldn't do it. And so I sunk some money into original art instead. But then around 2009, I started really kind of getting the itch again. And then I saw that CGC, it was like all over. And it seemed safe at that point. So that's when I jumped in. And I still got my first Golden Age purchase right here.
Look at that. Marvel Mystery number 15.
Yes.
One of my favorites.
Great Schomburg one.
Yeah, you can't deny a Schomburg cover.
once you get one timely, oh well, that's it for you. So, yep. So that's
Very cool.
and I'm still collecting them slowly.
There you go. Well, Mr. DS Comics, we have a timely guy. We've got the Jungle Nut. We've got the Crime and Atlas Jungle Nut. What do we have over here from Mr. DS Comics? What's your
All right.
background to the Golden Age?
Yeah, I mean, when I was younger, in the I grew up as a kid in the '80s and then into the '90s. Before I graduated high school, I was collecting superhero stuff like everybody else, and then I had quite a bit of books, probably 500 to 800 books, and I was out of the hobby for a long time, and I didn't get back in the hobby until about 5 or 6 years ago, and I just picked up where I left off, and I did superhero stuff. And then I decided I had too many books and I wanted to go after some bigger stuff. So I sold off most of my collection and started going after bigger superhero books. And then I remember it was about 4 years ago, I started to get into the auctions. I signed up for Heritage and Comic Link, and I was already doing eBay. But I was mostly just running around to comic shops and flea markets and stuff like that. But once I got on the auction sites, it exposed me to a whole bunch of other type of books I had never really even seen before, and Golden Age. And I remember looking at one Heritage auction, it was probably about 4 years ago, and they had an issue of The Thing, Charlton's The Thing, pre-code horror, and it's the lowest value book in that title, and I now own it. But I saw that and I was just blown away, because for the first time I'm starting to really I had a hunger for other types of books, like what else is out there, what can I really do with this now that I'm a more sophisticated, a more mature person. And so it really blew me away. So I really looked into that title, and then this was the first Golden Age book that I actually picked up, and this was probably only like 4 years ago. I didn't pick up the one I saw on Heritage, but I researched that title, and I'm like, all right, I didn't know how hard Golden Age was going to be to get, but I'm like, all right, I'm going to collect that whole title. I researched it. I'm like, there's 17 issues. I'll just pick them all up. And then I started to find out how hard it was, but I was able to, I started my Golden Age with picking up this, which is Thing number 1. And,
Cool.
Yeah, and then I, immediately found out how hard these things were to find and how expensive they were. So I nixed that idea and I just started researching pre-code horror. I eventually did, just recently, the end of last year, completed this whole title. I have all 17 in this title. So that was like, I finally feel like I've made it for myself as a pre-code horror collector, because this is what got me into it, and I finally completed the title. So I feel like I sort of have established just for myself, not among anyone else. But since then, I've researched Golden Age left and right, and I have found that the first thing that blew me away is the thing that I'm most passionate about, which is pre-code horror. So I've got some other books here to show during the show, but I mean, pre-code horror is where I stay at. It's like 1951 to 1954. It's just really dense 4 or 5 years of awesome horror books, and I just focus on that.
Great.
What year was that one you showed?
It's 1952.
Okay.
Very cool.
And what's the publisher on that one?
Charlton.
Charlton Comics, people. Damn.
So
Yeah,
now we're going to
also, yeah, also I learned, the paper quality. I got this book. I'm like, man, this is crap. I got ripped off, because I'm used to like, at the oldest, like Silver Age stuff makes this Golden Age Charlton paper look like it's, gold. And I was like, man, this sucks. This is a rag. But, I learned that it's actually a decent copy, and it's just a learning process that's been really, a lot for me over the last 4 years.
Yeah, Charlton.
We're definitely getting into that.
They didn't use that good paper on their book. If you get a high grade Charlton book, you done pretty damn good. And that's even for Silver Age, like say Blue Beetle or was it Captain Atom or any of that.
A lot of those Steve Ditko books that we
Yeah, exactly. The Ditko.
4.0 is like high grade and Golden Age.
Yeah. Ajax and Farrell are pretty weak too. So now we got our big one next. We got here, and I know this man who's having a heck of a month right now. He's a big time Golden Age collector of a certain few. It's a big time month for this guy. This is the Great Legend, and a movie came out this month, and I think
9-4 Blue Beetle Charlton.
Oh.
First question. 9-4 Charlton. Wait, that's some silver. See, that's why I'm on this panel, because folks, even though I'm the Great Legend has a lot to learn.
Wait, and you got a white page? Does that have white pages too?
Yeah, it does. What do you
That's-
think? What do you think? I ain't getting that. No other pages you wipe your butt with them, but
That's
the white
impressive.
page.
Charlton,
Yeah.
book from there with white pages is impressive.
First
Yeah.
question. I'm a big Blue Beetle Ted Cord fan. I got an 8.0 Ted Cord first
Captain
appearance.
Morgan.
Captain Adam theirs. But yeah, y'all, I've got. What's
What
up?
got you into collecting the golden age? What was that first book? What was it that drew you to those lovely faucets?
Goldens, man. My first one is kind of different because I don't have the two faucet golden ages, and I'll tell you the story behind those. One of them was Comics. I'm pretty sure it was 56, and it was from July 1944. And then I got Captain Marvel Adventures number 37 from July 1944. And the reason why is because that's my dad's birth month and year he was born, and that was his favorite superhero growing up was
That's
Captain
cool.
Marvel. So I had to get those for him. So, you know, they were a really great deal because they weren't a key issue, you know, as far as first appearances, and, you know, they were a really good deal. And then I sent the Captain Marvel Adventures off to get graded, and I believe I got a 6.5 or maybe a 7.5. I can't remember. It's at my dad's house. But this was the first one that I got, and I've always wanted this book. It was my very first, my favorite Three Stooges right here, Moe, Larry, and Shemp. And I had to have this book ever since I saw this one and another Golden Age one that I got years later, pretty much just on a fluke.
That's a Joe Kubert cover, isn't that?
A Joe Kubert and Norman Moore cover. And I eventually got this one, which is the Three Stooges #1. Moe, Larry, Curly is the very first Three Stooges cover.
How scarce is that book? That thing's scarce.
Where did you see them?
On CGC, where did I see? I originally saw these in the Three Stooges scrapbook. So as a little kid, I'd go to my public library, get this book called Three Stooges Scrapbook, and I saw these Three Stooges comics in there. For volume 1, there was 2 issues. This is by Jubilee Publications, and then they renamed it to St. John's Publishing later on. But they had Moe, Larry, Curly in issue 1. I've got 2 copies of issue 2. I need to send them to get pressed and then graded. I'm going to send them to old Midwest Comics one of these years. You know, nothing high grade or anything. But as far as this one goes, I believe it was only 12 on the CGC census. Now, this is a CBCS version slab, and I think I've only seen this one and another CBCS slab. So, you know, I think I would say anything below 20 is kind of in that rare / scarce. You know, you always hear people saying a book is going to be rare. You know, the book is going to be scarce. And then these people that say this, they're talking about variants. It's like, whoa, variants. Look at that. I'm talking about like 10 to 20 copies in existence. To me, that's some rare and scarce. But so that's kind of how I got into collecting. And I bought those in 2013. I got back into collecting comics from a long absence. I was collecting through 89 to about 92, took a break, started collecting in the early 2000s for about a year, took a break, and then went on and started again when the new 52 came out. And it was about that time when I was in my adult years, right? So I had some money, so I could actually buy some Golden Age. You know, I wouldn't get too crazy. Funny story about this one. I don't normally tell the prices of my books, but I'm going to tell this one. This was on something called Sellersville Auctions, and eBay was having them do a live auction. So I was sitting there patiently waiting for Bizarro's first appearance, and then this book, Bizarro, I was going to buy for a friend. Thank God it was only $100. Woohoo! And then I don't remember the grade or anything, but this 4.0 Three Stooges, no one bidded on it, and I got it for like $125.
Nice.
Oh,
Bidded on this. I was like, holy crap, this is like my favorite. You know, them and the Laurel and Hardy is my favorite kind of vaudeville / black and white comic team from like the 30s and stuff.
What year did that book come out?
The first Stooges one came out in 1949. And then the second was 1953, which is kind of crazy on this. 1952, of course, I don't know why they did only 2 issues. I think they should have done more. But 1952, good old Curly Howard, he passed away. And then so we had, and this was actually, Curly like had started stroking out 10 years prior. So I would even say like 1942, maybe up to 44. He could still go a little. I think 1943 was maybe his last short he was in. But then, so he lived quite a long time, grew his hair back and everything, but he was never really able to get physically back and physically implicated back into the whole getting slapped. But this one came out in 53, and then this series went 7 issues, and I'm pretty sure I have them all. I don't have many of them slab, but they're really good, man. Just to relive some of those funny stories of the Stooges is pretty awesome.
When was the Three Stooges like the peak of their popularity?
I would probably say 1930 up to about 1948 or 55 is when Shemp died. But
so they must have been playing them at the movie theater in between the features. Then
in between the features, they were on these old things called 2-reelers, and they would just put it on there. It's a little smaller than the full feature movie, but yeah, they'd run a couple of those, you know, and have a good time, you know.
I read recently that kids would, or anyone, you know, when you go see the movie, you could stay there for like 6 hours or so, because they would just play so many newsreels, cartoons, stuff like that, all kinds of stuff.
It was like, you know, because some people didn't have televisions back then.
Well, there wasn't any.
They had the movie theater, so a lot of times, especially the young kids, they would do all-day matinees, whether it be like your horror movies or, you know, those classics from the 50s. They may show a couple of Universals together, like Creature from the Black Lagoon and maybe some other crazy film or whatever. But I love that stuff, and that's kind of what got me in, you know, getting my feet wet in the Golden Age, mainly just because I'm a huge Three Stooges fan. I wanted to have all those Stooges comics, not the ones from the Dell 4-color, but mainly just the Jubilee Publishing in St. John's, because Norman Moore, who was Mo Howard's father-in-law, or who became their father-in-law, was married to Mo's daughter, Joan, and he was their manager for the longest time. So I love that kind of stuff. And you know, when you research, you know, of course I researched by reading an old Three Stooges scrapbook, you know, which was put together by Mo's daughter. But, you know, you do that research on the stuff and you research it and you kind of get a feel for, you know, what you think would be a good price to pay for it. And I'll let y'all talk a little bit about that on like pricing and stuff, because that's something important for collectors too.
We're going to that's the best segue we got right now.
Well, can I throw in something there though? I've always liked those, the Laurel and Hardy and the Three Stooges. I was always partial to Abbott and Costello, and I feel like those three are like the three good comedy teams. And they also have a comic, and that Abbott and Costello one, I would probably buy that if I found it, but I
look
think
at
I've
Comic
seen
Link.
one ever. That one's super rare too.
Yeah, I think Comic Link this month has a bunch of Abbott and Costellos out there.
I'll check it. I bet they don't have one, but I'll check. One
they might not have one, but they got a bunch of them out there. Which is our next, going to segue to our next portion.
Wait. One more question.
Go ahead.
So I just wondered though, when you got those books, and it was kind of more like you wanted them because they had something to do with the Three Stooges, and you were probably in you were into comics, so it kind of like bridged. It was like a combo.
It bridged the gap to the Golden.
But I wondered, like, did having your hands on those old books do something to you to like make you kind of think, oh, this Golden Age? Because I mean, there's that tipping point, because it's real easy to be like, Golden Age, yeah, I don't do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. For me, like when I opened the Golden Age, like the this one here, the one with Shemp, it was you know, it wasn't slabbed. I actually just looked at it and was like, wow, this is a nice book. And this is part of the second books that I sent off to be slabbed. First books was like a Spawn and some other 9.4 ASM 361 newsstand. It was a newsstand. Sold a long ago, you know, modern stuff. But man, I tell you what, when I held this in the hands and I read it, and just the smell, you know, it's got a different smell to me. This was September 53. Has a lot different smell from, say, a Silver Age. I kind of prefer the smell of Silver Age. Sometimes you'll get a Golden Age, man, it just kind of got some funk. Yeah, it's like, damn. It just smells bad and stuff.
Yeah.
I do love looking at this. I mean, and here's the thing. I think the older books, when you look at them, you get, it's like Luther Manning said one time, they're like paper time machines, man. So you look at the ads, you look at all the stuff in the book, and you know what was going around historically, you know, in the United States by what some of the ads were trying to say or sell, especially with some of these faucets I'll show you. And y'all know a lot of the times in those 40s, man, during the World War II days, a lot of the comics, the superheroes were fighting the people that the U.S. was fighting. So
Yep.
a lot of good stuff there.
Very cool. Well, our next portion here of the show is kind of like our educational piece from us. And we're going to talk, I mean, the thing about the Golden Age is we hear a lot of things. We watch a lot of shows on YouTube out there, and they tell you, they just show the books and everything, show, which we will do every week. Especially our guest is going to be showing their books. We'll be showing books here and there ourselves. But one of the things I wanted to bring up is we're going to help you guys that are just thinking about getting into the Golden Age or dabbling in it right now. Those of you that are maybe just bought your first big time Golden Age book and you're like, you know, I needed this book. But the one thing I'm going to say that I personally think rule number one, Legend meant it. I'm pretty sure these two guys all agree with me. It's research. Research what you're buying, research what you're getting into, research what prices are. And I'm going to open up to the panel right now and say, let's share with everybody what we use as research guides.
You want to take it, DS?
I'll go first. I can tell you a couple things to definitely not use because they're worthless for Golden Age. And number one, everybody on the panel knows what I'm going to say, the Overstreet Price Guide, worthless. When I started getting to Golden Age, I had the price guide. You know, I used it for superhero books. It's pretty good. I would start looking at it and I would make offers on books, and, you know, I was way off base. It wasn't helpful at all. And I just stopped buying it, you know, a couple of years ago.
But
it's useless.
I'd say more useless are those like Go Collect and those kind of like
gimmicks,
little apps.
Yeah, well, the other thing I was going to say, the other one is like the online resources of like Go Collect and GPA. I just canceled my GPA subscription. You know, for superhero books, you can see the sold listings on eBay, Comic Link auctions, whatever. I mean, it's easy. There's tons of them everywhere. But for Golden Age, I mean, GPA, I would go on there just to see, and there'd be stuff. The last sale will be like 2014, and it's not in the same grade. So the best way I research these and find prices is watch Comic Link and Comic Connect and Heritage auctions. Just watch those every month. Heritage has one every week, and Comic Link and Comic Connect are every month. Watch, you know, Golden Age books that you like. Watch what they go for. And then the thing about pricing for Golden Age, it's for especially pre-code horror. It might be different for superhero stuff, but it's priced per point. It's not like you know, you can't say like a Hulk 181 and 9.4 is this. There's sometimes, you know, less than 10 of these on the census. So you come across raw copies, but, you know, if a 4.0 sells for 1,200, that's a 300 a point book. So if you see a 6.0, you can expect it to go for about 1,800. 2.0 will be about 600. So it's like a price per point, and you just have to watch auctions and see what the stuff's going for. And my advice, if you're going to start getting into Golden Age, is just watch for a while, see what you like, and spend a little bit at first, because what you'll find is when you get into Golden Age, what you initially liked a lot of times is not the stuff you're going to end up keeping a couple years down the road. So don't be buying $1,000 books right off the bat. Buy some smaller stuff, the artists you think are cool, and just like get your feet wet without spending a ton. You know, that's my advice.
That's great stuff.
I could go. I would say, you know, if you're first, this would be the ideal for me. I didn't have the chance to do this, but it would have been awesome, is to go to a convention that you know are going to have some Golden Age dealers. And I think that would be any of the big ones, you know, San Diego Con and like New York Con. And yeah. And ideally, and it's really hard to do even at the con, but is to just have them in your hands. And like, if you could find a dealer that actually has like 2 copies of a book that you like, and you can, because, you know, when I first started, I wasn't sure where to go. We're like, condition wise, you know, and like, if you think, oh, I need good condition or whatever, or like what's available happens to be a 5.0 or whatever, and then it's like, you know, thousands of dollars, you're like, well, this isn't for me. But until you have it in your hands, like, you know, if you can hold like a low grade and feel like, this is awesome. Like, I want, it brings you joy or whatever, like, then you'll know. And then I think just getting your hands on those physical copies, if you can, is the best way to judge that. Because, you're in a way, you're going in blind, even if you're used to not getting, 9/8 or whatever, the books, that you would find even the dollar bin, like if they had no bags or anything, are still probably going to be in better condition. So you're not going to be used to, the real beat up stuff. But and I would talk to the dealers, talk to other Golden Age people, and just talk to them as much as you can. That'd be my advice.
Perfect. Legend?
Man, those are damn freaking good advice. Like DS said earlier, the GPA, and Evan said this in the chat, it's like when you look up Golden Age GPA books, it's like last known sale 1996. I mean, that kind of crap is not going to freaking help. Don't use GPA, of course. God, please don't use Overstreet. No disrespect to Overstreet. I do like reading the articles in it. Like I read the whole thing last year. This book was the 1968. It was I guess maybe 50th year. I don't know. My math sucks, but it was freaking Planet of the Apes. I had to get it. I had Cornelius, Roddy McDowell on the cover. I love that. I love the apes. But anyway, but yeah, the ones I use, just like these guys, people, you got okay. And when you're talking Golden Age, I mean, this is where the big boys play. This is what Woodard C. Wood 19 would call WCW, where the big boys play. So you need to hit up the big three. Check out Heritage Auctions, check out Comic Connect, check out Comic Link. Look at those items, man. And the really cool, it kind of gives you, well, for the most part, you're only going to find those hard to find ones on the big auction houses like that. So definitely check those. And one thing I love about Heritage, create your account with them. Don't be afraid. Get your username and then log in there. Type in something like Shazam #1 or whatever you're looking for. I probably got it in this box here. Even though this ain't Golden Age, just real quick, let me show this. Classic. Everyone's showing it off. Everyone needs a good 9.4 copy of the Shazam one. So, I like look at that stuff. Look at that stuff up. But the cool thing about Heritage is you go to Heritage, type in Shazam 1. You may not find one for auction. Actually, you probably will find a crap ton. But if this was a Golden Age, look at the past sales, and underneath, sometimes they'll have make an offer to the owner, and you could put in an offer for a book and, give them a good offer, because this is where the big boys play. So be smart, don't insult them by giving a damn $10 offer, some piece of crap or something. Normally they have a minimum offer anyway, but give them a good offer if you're really interested and see if you can win it. I've won a couple of books like that. I can't remember which ones, but I've gotten Golden Age just like that. Actually, I can go ahead and show you one that I thought I would never get. This one here. I think this was one of the ones I did. It was 7.0, the number 3 Captain Marvel Adventures metallic lightning bolt, creamed off white, 1941. Now, I don't know for sure, but I did get this from Heritage. I don't know if it was an auction or if it was one of those making offers. A lot of times my memory is very bad, especially when it comes to like how much money I spend on stuff sometimes. So I don't go crazy because, the big thing is about Golden Age. You got to have patience and perseverance. I mean, don't just give up because you can't find that one book and it's either out of your price range or you can't get it or you make up some other sad crappy excuse. Always have faith that you can get this book. Tell yourself, if that helps, I can get this book, I can do it, and you'll eventually get it. Sometimes, let me just show this one real quick because I know people always love to see it. No, not that one. That's a damn good book too. But I have a buddy of mine named Mass Marvel. Been watching my channel ever since 2009. No, probably since 2011. But he told me, Legend, your book's up on eBay right now. It's like, what you talking about? He says, dude, your book's up. Dscomics #2. And I was like, that's bullshit. You're lying, because they never have that book up on eBay back in 2013. But sure enough, man, they actually did. They had the book. It's purple, and I'm good with restored because like Paul Midwest Cop Man says, they gonna be restoring Notre Dame. They might as well be restoring Captain Marvel. You know what I'm saying? So we got Dscomics, man. Too soon on that one. Dscomics, first appearance of the guy that just had the movie last week. And
That's
his
awesome.
old school name was Captain Marvel. So very good book.
Amazing.
You know, and it's got and the cool thing about it, it's just a beautiful.
Looks like professional restoration too.
It is the and
To me,
I know
that doesn't hurt that much.
we're not talking like all restored books tonight or whatnot, but I will let y'all know if you buy a restored book, look at everything on the label, find out if it's amateur restored, professionally restored, because there's times I've thought about buying Golden Age just like they would be low, like 2.5, maybe even lower. Just Master Comics, I think it's Master Comics 22, first Captain Nazi, first story in the Captain Marvel Jr. trilogy. I've got the second one, the first Freddie Freeman or first Captain Marvel Jr. But look at the labels, you know, make sure you know what you're getting. And that also goes along with do your research, you know, but check those 3 auction houses, Heritage Auctions, Comic Connect, because you can do buy, sell, trade on that one, and then Comic Link. And just check into those things and never say never. It's like old ETA Nick says, another good YouTuber out there. But yeah, never say never, and just keep the faith, man. You'll be coming away with some Golden Age before you know it.
Well, one of the things that I want to thank these guys for telling that, because this is exactly my next big point of this is I didn't have the internet, and we had Overstreet back then, but when I first got into this, I found out by making friends with a bunch of other Golden Age dealers, and here I was, a 19, 20-year-old kid, no, a little older than that, 23, 24-year-old kid, and I was going to these cons trying to get my John Buscema stuff and trying to get everything done while he was alive, and going to all these cons for $5 a piece and walking into the New York Comic Con. And I talked to these Golden Age guys, and here's a good example of a book that I read too many times, because this is before they were slabbing. And this is the first Golden Age I ever slabbed on a new slab. I was not a big fan of slabbing Golden Age books, just because I didn't trust what CGC was doing to books. I didn't know if I don't like anybody touching my books. That was the way. And that's it was. And this is one here. This is a 3.5, I know, but it's white pages, which you don't see a lot. 1952. It's got tape on the interior cover, along with another one of my other early books I've had. This is Saul Brodsky cover, but this is why I got this book, just to let you know. And when I was researching it, someone said you should pick this up because that's only $25, and that's one of Stan's first ever horror stories he ever wrote. I'm like, Stan Lee? So I asked the man, and I probably should have got him to sign that. He goes, yeah, I was one of those. But what I'm getting at now is I didn't have all that, but I learned a lot by talking to other people. And this is something new that I'm inviting everybody that's in this chat right now, and whoever's going to watch this later on, is here are 4 people here you can actually use as a resource. And if not, I use a lot of guys as resources out there. I think DS, Knights of Old, and the 3 of us, we kind of been talking together for about 3 months, and almost every big book that we see on eBay, there's some we're pinging each other back and forth on this one. What do you think of this one? And especially because I know one guy in this one on the my man over here down Dscomics. He's desperate to find that horrific #1, and my good friend over here in the Mike over there at Knights of Old, he's going crazy to go find a Marvel Mystery #3. So they sent me out on a quest while I'm at C2E2, and unfortunately I couldn't come away. But I asked every single one of them. I asked, but I knew a lot of these guys, and a couple of you guys who were with me at C2E2 knew exactly who I was because they know me as this quirky elephant guy. But I also collect vampires too, which I'll get into towards the end here of something else I collect is vampire books. But one of the resources that's new that just came about since I started YouTube was all of my friends here in the community that I've met. Metarog is another one. TJ Watson, obviously. Tim and I, we just literally before I got on the show over here, him and I talk about Golden Age books constantly. Do you think this is a good price? What do you think of this? We don't know everything. I had a good friend of mine, who dat, reach out to me on a book. He goes, this guy's asking this. I'm like, well, he's a little bit over by about $600-700. It's a great book. Don't get me wrong. It's a great, solid book. But according to my guys, which are a bunch of guys on Instagram that you can friend up, you'll look for them. You find us out there. I honestly, if I'm going out for a pre-code horror book, I already got my guy Dscomics on the phone right away. I'm going to be like, here it is. I'm stuck. I didn't have to call him because that was only $40. So I'm pretty sure he's still that one left and right.
Well, I'll tell you, I had that book in about half the grade that you do. I bought it 2.5 years ago for $50, and it was a deal.
Yeah, and now that thing's going $300, $400, $500. But
I mean, that's probably what is that, a 4?
Maybe. I don't. It's hard to tell with the spine split. I'm afraid to open it up because of the spine split. But
yeah, I mean that's $150 a point.
Right. Yeah.
Give or take,
And that's
so,
where we're gonna point per point is how the horror code works. Jungle is very similar, except the one thing with Jungle books is it's all about who and what is on the cover. The more bondage, the more artists that's recognized to be there. Because a lot of times CGC labels, I'm going to give them an accuracy rating of about 75%. It's going to shock everybody. I'm pretty sure everybody in the panel could agree with me on this. CGC is not correct on every label that they have. I've seen them misgrade that Wanted book. The guy who has the 4.5 has the wrong artist on it, which is hysterical because John Buscema's name is on the cover. That's wrong. You know, one guy says it's John Romita, and I said, well, that's the nicest John Romita cover that John Buscema ever did. But so, another one here I like to bring up is, you know, the resource is each other, and that's use us. We're part of the community, and we're here to help. We're not going to outbid you on a book. We're going to sit there. I mean, you can ask guys in this chat that have reached out to me, and if I don't know the answer, I have no problem saying I don't know, but let me try out a few 9, 10, or 10 of my sources. I use the CGC forums as well, and I'm a guy on the I'm known on the CGC forum as an elephant guy, but I'm also made friends with so many of the dealers on there to where I walk into a con, and some of these guys have been with me, and some of you guys have hung out with me in a con where I walk over to them, hey man, how's it going? I need your help on this book. So I went over to one guy at C2E2, and I said, this guy over here is trying to sell this book over here, and it's one that I'm going to ask Dscomics to pop up right there. That's 7.0. And I've never known this one dealer to undergrade a book, if you know what I mean. And he's got it as good, but it looks a lot better than it is. I said, that's not good. That looks much better. But I know this guy doesn't undergrade by any means. If anything, he overgrades. And it's a Black Cat 50 right there. And I'm going to talk as you guys look at that. That's probably one of the top 5 most famous pre-code horror books out there. Harvey Paul publications right there, known as the White Heat cover. It's been copied a couple of times in Tomb of Terror 19. Is that right?
Tomb of Terror 15 is a similar cover.
Similar cover. It's been cover swiped, I should say. But that's the one right there. And the guy wanted a large amount of money for 3.0, and a friend of mine was going to research this. So I went over to another dealer, explained the situation. Yep, there it is. Explained the situation, and I said, do me a favor. What do we think about this? And he told me flat out, he goes, I think that's overpricing it by a lot. Bid him this. We went back to bid him this. He turned it down, and then he turned around, and we ended up making a deal on another book. Either way, another thing is be patient. Don't jump on the first deal you see. Be patient.
Let me tell you something, JD. We got this guy in the chat. His name is Biggie Shack. And let me tell you, we got a guy like Biggie Shack out there. He's getting some golden age. He's getting some silver. He's getting some great books, brother. But let me tell you something. When he watches people's videos, it could be like he's watching E.L. O'Brien. You know, the bicep may look like it's 36 inches pythons, but if you look under E.L. O'Brien, Plastic Man's bicep, you find there's no foundation to the knowledge he's trying to bring to the table. So fans, what you need to do, man, you check out Golden Guys on Tuesday nights here on the Comic Core. You check out Bub's Comics on the No Faces chat on Monday night. You talk to these cats, man. DS, Knights of Old, Meta-Rog. Go back in time on the rewind and check out Captain Strange Life, man. Check these people out. Midwest Comic Man, Evan Gillone, if you're a fan of those off-airs. You know, we got this guy named Evan, humongous Golden Age. Loves him some Lance O'Casey from Fawcett. I'm just kidding. He actually loves Captain Midnight, but you got to love some Navy guys and sailors and stuff in the old days. But, man, that's what it's all about, JD. You go to people that know, not the people that are there just to make a buck off Patreon and get people with the top 10 gimmicks, like telling me what to buy. I ain't buying that shit. I'm buying shit I want to buy because I'm the great legend and no one tells me what to buy. You know what?
And Legend, I just wanted to point out that Captain Nazi first appearance is actually number 21.
21. There it is. The first.
So you were close.
22 is the third. 22. 22 is the third one, which I'd rather have 21 than 22. Damn. I know that
There's
cover.
one on eBay right now.
I know the 2.5 blue label. That was the one I'm thinking about. I would possibly, it would probably cost me even more money because I would want to get it professionally restored, you know, and get the purple label on it.
Yeah.
Oh,
I feel like that one on eBay right now, I feel like I saw that purchased recently from an auction. And when I see it, something bought and then come up for sale immediately, I don't know. I get a little weary about it sometimes.
flip,
So.
probably a little quick flip. Probably people trying to play off the Shazam movie.
Or when you get it in hand, something you didn't like.
Yeah,
Maybe
I think it's probably a quick flip because some of these Golden Age books are so rare, and if you're in the genre like pre-code horror, there's certain books may only come up like 2 or 3 times a year. So everybody who's into it will see it on Comic Link, and then 3 weeks later it shows up on eBay. You know the guy bought it to flip it, and I've done that. I mean, I'll buy stuff on auction if I think it's a little low, and eBay is where you can get jacked up prices too. So if I bought a book on Comic Connect 2 months ago for $800, I threw it on eBay for $1,500, and it sold in like 7 hours or something.
But that's where if you do your research and you're like, and you could send that guy a message or whatever and be like, I'll offer you, a couple hundred above, you give them a price that gives them a little profit, but isn't, too much.
And there's probably, there's not too many of those Captain Nazi books floating around. So this stuff changes hands. That will not be the last time that exact book is for sale this year. If somebody will buy it and throw it back up on eBay or sell it on Instagram, that person will, or throw it on Comic Link and then it'll end up on eBay. You'll see that same copy several times.
You could find it on heritage auctions a lot of times. Like I said, look at the ones that have sold in the past and see if the owner wants, is accepting offers on it. Yeah. And a lot of times you can get pretty lucky with that. It's like an untapped resource. I think a lot of YouTubers that are just getting into the hobby, of course, they're new to the hobby. They're really new to the Golden Age, but they don't know to kind of go to those bigger auction houses, not just do eBay stuff and all that, but explore what you have at your fingertips, man. If you got the keyboard, you got one of these, get on it and do your research.
And, get on all the want lists and stuff. Like,
want lists are great. Yeah. I will say that.
I'll tell you, I'm probably pretty unusual, though, because I do not like the CGC boards. I hate the CGC boards. I don't go on there. I feel like it's 1995. I can't deal with it. That's unusual for Golden Age, and I love eBay. A lot of Golden Age collectors will buy stuff on eBay, obviously, but while they're gritting their teeth because they don't like eBay. But I love eBay and I hate the CGC boards, so I'm a little odd as far as that. But
the CGC boards help me out with the dealers I deal in. It's also because everybody knows what I want, so it's easy for someone to say, "Hey, this is an Elephant book. What do you want?" So, for example, there was a True 3D 9.2 graded that a guy wanted. $50 for. That's from 1952. Slabbed with both glasses attached. That's the first true 3D. There were about 5 dealers who wanted to put an "I'll take it" out there, but all of them said, "Hang on, we got to let JAD on this one," because he gets pissed off if somebody buys an Elephant cover and doesn't let him know first. I got a call from a well-known dealer who said, "Get on the board and just say, 'I'll take it.' If not, we'll say we'll take it for you and we'll jack it up. So just get on the board." There are times, though, when it comes down to pre-code horror on the boards, it is kill or be killed. There's too fast, too many, and there's some guys out there. We call them the robot, the take bot. He takes everything. He's the take bot, and the take bots out there. We know who he is.
But I don't have time to go on there and like refresh the page and go. When you're scrolling through that thread, man, not 1995. I cannot.
That's why I get a few dealers who contact me, and I get more private messages than I get anything else. But the thing on there, if it wasn't for the CGC boards, I probably would have gotten known, which is probably would have been recognized as. I could walk over to almost any major dealer and go over to him and say, "Hey, do you have any Elephant covers?" And he goes, "I know a guy like you," and find out it is me. And then by then I could always use that towards getting other books for other people and stuff. The other side, the other thing is when we get together with each other, when, for example, when, DS and Knights of Old Night, we get together, we see something out there, we look for each other's books. Because we're always like, God, I know he likes that Marvel Timely and stuff like that. And I always say, God, I wonder if he has that. What's he looking for? And I know there's some pre-code horror that what DS Comics is looking for, and everybody knows me as an elephant nut. So it's always good fun. But that's part of the good part about doing this community is that let us know what you want. There's a guy in the chat that he's been talking here and there that I know what he likes. And there's another guy who knows what he likes, and we will share with them. And that's what about this show that we want to help you out. That if you see something, you can sub us up, watch our channel, follow us on Instagram. All of us have Instagram. Message us on Instagram. Say, hey, I want this book. I mean, don't come to me on a timely. Go to Knights of Old on time. You know.
I want to mention one other thing about the forums, CGC forums, the boards or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
You know, in the gold section. And this is like nothing to do with like buying books or whatever,
right.
But there is a extreme amount of resources there. If you just want to read about the history of books and whatnot, there's actually a guy on there. I can't believe he is on the internet at all, but he posted recently, but he actually remembers buying books in 1943. I mean, where are you gonna get that? And you could actually, he's like totally cool taking questions, you know, like, you know, he's gonna pass. He's 90 something. Yeah. So, you know, you're gonna regret
43
not asking him questions now. You know, there's not many people left who even remember newsstands from the 40s at all.
And that goes for like everybody. Like if there's a human being that you're lucky to know in real life that's 90 plus, I mean, take the time out of your busy, you know, YouTube careers and go talk to some of these folks, man. Learn about some of the stuff they went through, and they may even show you the first time. They may tell you about the first time they ran into the law, like my first time with Police Comics #1. The first appearance of some great quality comics characters like Firebrand.
Oh, yeah.
First appearance of the Phantom Lady, the Human Bomb. You got. I don't know what this appearance is. Not a first appearance, but you got the mouthpiece.
The mouthpiece. That's
But more importantly, we got Plastic Man right there, man. And
is it the first appearance of Phantom Lady and Plastic Man?
Hell yeah!
Yeah, it is. Wow. It's a double first appearance. Yeah.
Damn, that's a nice one.
Lady. So those are your couple of your Earth Xers if you're a big Freedom Fighters fans or, you know, just those quality comic fans in general. And you got Firebrand and Plastic Man. So you got 4 first appearances in this one book right here, man. And this would have graded a lot higher. I mean, this is a beautiful copy. Was a rip on the where's my spine at?
What year is that?
1941.
Wow,
you can kind of see where it's more cream right there. So a little bit, about an inch of the back cover is kind of ripped there. But like a split, you know, but with a piece missing. But still, beautiful freaking book, man. Off white to white.
Beautiful. Well, you brought up an obscure character. One of those things about obscure characters, other than the one who I impersonate once in a while, the precursor to that one was Asbestos Lady, which I know Knights of Old probably has that beautiful Human Torch. That's one of my only superhero books I'm looking for, because next year I'm trying to convince my wife to go as Asbestos Lady and Paste Pot Pete together.
Is she Paste Pot Pete's mom?
Yeah, that's where we're claiming it's his mom. We're gonna make it that. But then there's famous characters, especially in the time of the world. Blonde Phantom. I'm actually looking really forward to Denver Comic-Con. Gonna try to sit down with Mr. Alan Bellman himself and to draw for me a Phantom Lady on a book right there.
Put some Doll Man on it.
Oh yeah, put some Doll Man, or it's good stuff. But one of the most important things about this show that we want to do is share the knowledge of what we have. So today, lesson number 1, research. We're going to give you more research than ever, and that's a beautiful Gerber's. Let me show you that book right there. Where's Asbestos Lady? There she is.
Well, this is
that's all.
I wondered if this was the same Phantom Lady that Legend was showing.
It's the same character.
Yeah, quality comics. I see the little logo on there.
The only difference is Baker's most
thousands of dollars.
Yeah, something about some of those covers, and that's one of the things where I don't think people realize this is, while it might say Matt Baker did it, I spoke to Rich at Bedrock Comics in Bedrock City, and Rich is an older guy himself, and his guy who taught him the Golden Age is about 30 years older. owned every one of those, bought them all off the rack, and worked with the group putting out those Phantom Ladies and stuff, and flat out said, he goes, Baker didn't do that cover, but it sold more if Baker did. So Iger or whoever it was at the time, it might have been Iger shops, or it could have been any of those shops. They just put Baker on there. But you can see the difference if you look between, I think, 17 and 21, and you can see the difference on them. They're night and day. Let me show you.
And
Here you go. Here's your.
That's a blonde Phantom. That's a special.
Here's your blonde Phantom.
I love the blonde Phantom.
Baker never
One of my
signed
favorite.
anything. I've seen like maybe a couple Baker signatures. Most of his covers that are attributed to him don't have his signatures on them. Most of his stuff's not signed. It's hard to find a Matt Baker signature on any of his covers.
You know, there's one book that came out, and I know this ain't Golden Age, but it's, you know, sometimes coined as being the first book of the modern age, and I'm talking about The Watchmen. If you see Silk Spectre in The Watchmen, a lot of Alan Moore took a lot of the Phantom Lady, you know, the outfits, the look, and kind of made it like the Silk Spectre. So even in the modern age, people still, creators still go back to the Golden Age to get inspiration from. And what's really important for all you watching at home or wherever you're watching on your mobile devices, take the inspiration you see from these guys here on this panel and then turn that into something, man. Get you some Golden Age. Once you hold it in your hands, man, it's going to take you to the magic lands. So Shazam plug there. But anyway, good stuff.
What about this lady?
Very cool.
Oh, one of the best.
Oh, is that 6?
No,
That's number 1.
That's 1. Oh, see, I need number 33.
Dang! Well, you got me. I thought you were going to pull out that sensational comics one.
See, he's definitely the hero guy. But the biggest thing in the chat that we've been asking for, and we're going to do this every week, we're going to end the show before we say the thank yous to everybody. Is the biggest thing is people are asking for some EC horror. You got anything available there, DS Comics, for some EC to show anybody?
I've got one EC book at CGC and one EC book here. So here's the only EC
show
book.
one EC you're gonna get.
There's an EC book I've got handy right there.
That's science fiction right there. What's that book right
this
there?
is Weird Science Fantasy 29. It's Frank Frazetta cover.
Beautiful Frazetta.
So it's I'm sorry for the glare. I don't.
That's always good.
Never
You keep yours in Mylar too.
when the slabs are in Mylar, baby.
I have a few ECs on the way. I didn't break them out. Yeah.
I got to show one more thing. So
What we got?
I crack out a lot of my books, and
I do
sometimes
too. People think I'm nuts.
sometimes I've gotten pretty good at cracking out the slabs. So sometimes they stay intact, and just for the fun of it, yeah, I decided to try out and see what this would look like in my dream, and I think it looks pretty cool. Is a pulp inside. This is blank, but I think it would be awesome if they did these.
The pulps.
Can you imagine the market? How crazy it'd be! I think they just don't want to. They don't want to grade it. I mean, there's so many pages, and
I'm having a problem with them. I mean, because there's always a few books out there. I mean, CGC's got to bite the bullet and do something about Treasury editions too, and bigger magazines. Because you can't get a jumbo. You can't. Everybody's like, oh, the first Kirby work. You can't get it in a slab because it's too big. It's jumbo number 2. It's jumbo comics, just like that's a jumbo right there. It's a jumbo, but it's too big. It really was too jumbo. CGC can't do it, and that's Kirby's first work. Actually,
More name for a male elephant. Just call him Jumbo. It's extra thick. Hey, but speaking of extra thick, I'm not going to show. I had some Phantom Strangers, but I'm going to hold those later down the line.
You want to be on again? Well, you're on for sure.
Yeah, but I will show some faucets real quick.
Please do. We're going to end the show with showing some books by the guest.
I don't have too many faucets, but the ones I do are all Shazam related, and I'll show them to you. This is Captain Marvel Adventures #1. Beautiful book, restored by professionals. Always go for professional restoration.
What year?
1941, spring of 41. And what was cool about this one, Wiz Comics was so hot, man. Wiz Comics was outselling Action Comics, Detective, Sensational, Captain America. and that was Wiz Comics. Main reason was this guy right here. So they started him in his own series, man. So all 64 pages dedicated to the big red cheese, man. Is there any other? Hell no, please, there ain't. It's just the big red cheese. Next up, when you get number 1, a lot of people always say you got to get number 2. And I love this one. This is Billy just punching a German soldier there, man. Another professionally restored. You got to go. Actually, this is a different one. This is conserved. So on the conserved, it's just kind of sealed, cover cleaned, and cover reinforced. So, you know, no pieces added or nothing like that for the conserved stuff. But very cool right there. If you want to know the difference, like I said, there is some great little guides on the CGC website, not only the forums, but they let you know what the difference between a conserved and a restored is. And currently, if you get something graded that's conserved, you'll get like a gray. Instead of it being purple at the top, you'll get like a gray one at the top. Of course, this one is the Captain Marvel Adventures 18, first appearance of the Marvel family. And first appearance of
Nice.
That ain't Judy Garland, people. That's Mary freaking Marvel right there. Love that cover. Painted freaking cover by C.C. Beck. Really freaking cool.
Did you see the movie yet?
Oh, dude. Let me
I
tell
haven't
you.
seen it, but is it?
It was better than my 2 favorite movies of all time. Well, one's a trilogy, Back to the Future trilogy, and Shawshank Redemption. And Shazam was better than both. Damn!
Wow.
Shit like that. You know, I'm really into it. But I love this cover. This was one I bought raw from Tomorrow's Treasures back before he didn't believe in grading. So I bought it raw from him and slabbed it, and it came back Blue Label 7.0. This was back in 2013. So the book was, I think, in the low thousands or something, you know, the 1,000s, but really good, steal of a deal.
That was great.
It's worth a lot of money now. I don't really keep up too much on what things are worth, but I know like some of this crap's 5 figures. This one here, we got number 3. I showed that one earlier. I just had to throw that in there. And then we got some whizzes. I know Russ, my main man Russ, wants to see these whizzes, but I ain't watching no Michael Jackson movie, baby. I'm talking Whiz Comics from Fawcett. You know, Diane, was it Diane? Anyway, that singer that was the Dorothy in the Wiz. But anyway, so this one's
Judy
a hot
Garland
right now. Not Judy Garland. It was Diana Ross. Yeah.
Oh, the Wiz, yeah.
The Wiz, yeah. This one here, man, y'all are gonna like this. This one was another one that I bought really cheap, and I'm trying to remember if I graded this one as well. I don't remember, but this is a 6.5 Marvel Family number 1, and it's
Nice.
They battle against the guy named Black Adam right there. So Black Adam's fun. Oh, and you get your little uncle, old Dudley. Get the Dudley right there. He's always fun and classic. And then I'll work my way backwards on these. Used to have a 4 or 5 purple label, but I upgraded to this one, Wiz 25. This is 6.0. This is part 2 in the Master Comics 21, like Knights of Old said, and then number 22, which is awesome freaking cover. It's got old Captain Marvel Jr. on it, punching, I think, Captain Nazi in the face. That's the Master Comics 22. But in between, you get the first full appearance of Marvel Jr. So very cool. 6.0. Good stuff. And then we got some restored grade goodness. This one is Wiz number 3. Love that cover. He's tied the tank in a knot. Just freaking love
nice.
that. You know, just another slight, moderate. You know what? Whatever. It looks damn good to me. Looks professionally done. Now, this is extensive, but what can I say? I mean, it's just damn history. The character that outsold the other 4 big ones. Outsold Cap, outsold Wonder Woman, outsold Superman, outsold Batman, and was the first title to go doubles. You know, I think it was Action Comics. You know, they got pretty hot, so they released Superman 1. Detective Comics 27. It got pretty hot, you know, so they released Batman 1, so he has his own title. Of course, he fought Joker and Catwoman in there. You got old Cap's always been Cap, but Sensational, so hot, she got her own title. And Knights of Old has it. Wonder Woman number 1. Freaking awesome.
What about, you got a Wiz 18? I love that cover.
Wiz 18. What does it look like?
The train. He's stopping the train.
Oh, dude, I do not have Wiz 18. I
This
do.
one, right here.
Let me check this bad boy out, because, hey, I may be getting.
Let's see where.
Oh, that one there. Dude, that is so freaking cool. Yeah, those covers are iconic. And the great thing about these Wiz Comics and Captain Marvel Adventures, you know, don't I'm not telling you how to buy books, but don't be afraid if the title or the book doesn't say first appearance or doesn't say key issue. Buy them because it's freaking Captain Marvel. Just beat the crap out of stuff.
Or it's something you like.
Or Bullet Man. Ooh, wow.
I don't do many Fawcett's, but I like female superheroes, and I think this is one of her best covers. So
perfect date stamp placement. That is gorgeous.
I'm glad I got it before the movie came out. I hope that she's good in the movie, or they do it later or whatever.
She is really good in the movie. I just wish she had a little bit more in there. I just want more Mary because she's really nice too. Looking. But yeah, I have a couple of others. Like I have Mr. Mind's first cover appearance, and Talkie Tawny's first appearance, which big shout out to Pocan Joe. I was coming back on, was it Saturday, from C2E2 back to the B&B house, and Pocan was going through all these books. He got some amazing finds. And I saw Talkie Tawny's first appearance he had, and I was like, I know what that book is, Talkie Tawny. He just smiled at me because only a golden age person would know of the Talkie Tawny. So I love
that. Was a good moment when it was Paul, Pocan Joe, me, and Legend was sitting there. We're looking at all. What'd you guys pick up? And I'm showing these crazy elephant covers and some crazy there. And Pocan Joe pulls out the yellow jacket that I almost bought that I walked away, and I'm like, damn, I missed out on this yellow jacket. And Pocan Joe goes, you mean this one? And I was like,
see, the people that have been bitten by the golden age bug, and these three guys on the panel have been bitten far longer than I have ever been bitten on this golden age. These are the guys you need to watch if you want to learn about golden age. So I know JD, you're going to have golden guys here, man. You're gonna have Knights Old, you're gonna have DS, you're gonna have your own channel in the video description below. So if you want more golden age and you know we can't get your pickle tickled too much on Tuesday night, make sure you check out these other freaking channels of these.
We'll share our Instagrams with you guys.
Instagram too, man. Some of the best golden age stuff you're only gonna find here on the Golden Guys. And I just want to JD and DS, Knights of Old, I want y'all to know from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for letting me be your first guest. I know it wasn't your first choice because Midwest calling us.
Where's Paul?
He's had some hard times, but he'll be back hopefully pretty soon. And man, this was a damn fun time tonight.
Thanks
for coming on.
Definitely. And these two guys right here, I'm going to sign off a little first. Thank you all for joining us right now. We ran a little bit late, but that's perfect because when you got the great legend, you make time for him. I'll tell you.
Thanks, brother.
And you have a great group in the chat here. I want to thank everybody in the chat. Discovery Bay, thank you very much for everything you did to promote us. We really appreciate that. Pocan Joe is in the chat. We love telling that story over and over again where he pulls out that great book. And Comic Head 84, everybody, thank you very much. You know, DS and Knights of Old. I'm going to let you guys, you guys want to say your goodbyes, tell a little bit about if something come up on your channel at all. Go ahead.
I've been behind on my channel, but I just want to say thanks a lot for watching and just hanging out, talking with you guys. It's always fun. Like, just I could talk for hours about Golden Age, so it's always great to find
like that Don Rosa.
Oh, wait. Hey, did someone say, hey, where's Don Rosa?
Man, I have about 50 minutes of unedited more footage with them. And want to talk about a want list?
Don Rosa?
Easy. Yeah. That's not Don Rosa.
There ain't no damn Don Rosa.
Don Rosa.
It's double signed from my boy Contender. Contender always wants to buy this off me, but you can't have it.
DS?
I mean, I try to crank out one video every week or so. The only thing I really have planned is I have a really killer selection of Golden Age books at CGC right now. It's 15 books. They're all mid-grade, rock solid, awesome Golden Age stuff.
I'm trying to get him to open that box here on our show.
I mean, it's possible, but I got to get it back first. It's I had them pressed and then I'm having them graded, and it's taking time. So when I get that back, that's the biggest sort of thing I have coming up. Other than that, it's just random stuff. But I'll just leave you with an image of this LB Cole. He came up several times in the chat. So So I'll throw out this one for everybody to drink in.
My big purchase.
It's great.
Last time. Yep.
So this is one of my favorite LB Coles right here. Is Suspense number 8, and really hard to find and just an awesome book. So I just want to throw that out there for the LB Cole talk.
I love
that
that
going on.
guy in the background. He's got the hat
It's
on.
the Phantom Stranger.
It really looks like the Phantom or the Spirit or maybe the
Phantom,
Mouthpiece.
yeah.
It could be any of them.
Yep, and when we picked up that book at C2E2, the first person I sent the message to was a DS Comics saying, "Hey, low grade's better than no grade. We found one," and we did. So it was really.
This guy's for JD. This is your Don Rosa's first comic stuff for Scrooge.
You will get a night. I don't know if it's a 9/8. You will get a near mint copy in my contest on my channel to watch all my Planet Comic Con videos. You get that, you get a bunch of other books, and you get your own piece of original art from Lorenzo Lozana, who's a DC Marvel artist. He was willing to give you a sketch of your choice. So that's always fun stuff. A little different right there. I want to thank everybody to tune in to Comic Core Unlimited tomorrow night, as well as we have an auction coming up that is a 25. We are donating, I think, 25% to the Heroes Initiative on our Saturday auction. We're very excited about that, as well as, of course,
who's that special guest on tomorrow night's Comic
Oh
Core?
yeah, I think we're going to have the Great Legend on tomorrow night. We're going to have him Unlimited show for the first time because he wants to try what it's out. He wants to try out what it's like to be on the A-Team. So,
the A-Team, man. I want to hang with B.A. Face and Murdoch and all of them. And Hannibal.
There you go. Well, I want to thank everybody for tuning into the first issue of Golden Guys. There's going to be many more issues to come. Thank you, everybody in the chat.
Thank you, JD, for organizing this.
Hey,
it was a lot of fun.
I think this is a great show with a lot of longevity up there. And if there's anything you guys need, I will be putting everybody's contact information as far as their Instagram and their YouTube channels out there too. Sub them up, check them out, and enjoy it. Thanks, everybody, for being a friend. Take care.
Take care.